Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here. Time for another Patreon-sponsored blind reaction. And this one comes to you courtesy of the Lexus, who has requested that I react to Johnny vs. Sonic Adventure 2 by SomecallmeJohnny. So, yeah, I looked at Johnny vs. Sonic Adventure 1 last month, and it was pretty good. I mean, it seemed like a pretty comprehensive, look at the game. I mean, I haven't played the game, but it just seemed like it went into pretty good detail about what was up with it and just giving opinions on all the little things in it. And it was a pretty entertaining video. He seemed pretty cool. And yeah, it was good. And now we're going to look at the next one. Look at Johnny's review of the follow-up to that game, which of course is Sonic Adventure 2, which I also haven't played. But I'm interested, I guess, to learn more about it. So let's go ahead and get this started. Here we go.
The military's top secret weapon, Project Shadow, was stolen from the
Project Shadow,
located on the deserted island in the southern seas.
So is this Shadow's first game?
The
Moon!
Terrorist activities. Sonic the Hedgehog was arrested.
Did the moon explode?
Truth leads to the incidents that shocked the entire
That was the moon, right?
The story takes our hero Sonic from the Earth and into outer space.
Okay.
Sonic Adventure 2, Hero Side Story. Farewell, Sonic. Forever.
Oh. Yeah, no. Yeah. I don't think this was the end of Sonic.
So, in my personal opinion, Sonic Adventure was overall a good start to Sonic's 3D career. I may have only enjoyed half of the characters, but what I thought they did right well enough. So 2001 marked the 10th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog, and to celebrate, Sonic Team released Sonic Adventure 2. So without further ado, let's look into the game and see what's up.
Before I was able to get my hands on a Sega Dreamcast, I was quite the jittery teenager. I thought it was bad enough that I was missing out on Sonic's first adventure in 3D, but then I started seeing commercials for the sequel, Sonic Adventure 2, where not only can you play as the good guys, but you can also play as the bad guys and attempt to conquer the world. Who's this black?
Well, that's that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's
interesting.
Different.
Of course, I first jumped on Sonic Adventure 1 when I got the Dreamcast, but as soon as I had my fill and when the money was right, I immediately made a beeline towards Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Shuffle. But I don't like to talk about that game. I knew some people were wondering if I was ever going to review this game anytime soon, but I no longer own it, and I don't plan on getting it again for the time being. As a 10th anniversary title, does Sonic Adventure 2 do a better job than the first adventure game? Were any of the problems that I had with Adventure 1 fixed or at least removed? Like last time, let's begin with the story. Unlike the last game, there are only two stories to select from: the hero side, starring Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and the dark side, starring Dr. Eggman, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Rouge the Bat. For this summary, I'll be combining the two stories together as best as I possibly can. Deep inside a military research facility, Dr. Eggman is seen running amok with the goal of discovering a secret military project developed by his late grandfather, Professor Gerald Robotnik. When Eggman blasts through the secured station, he unlocks his grandfather's secret project, which turns out to be a black hedgehog named Shadow, who promises Dr. Eggman world domination if he can collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Shadow introduces Eggman to the space colony Ark, a research facility built in outer space by Gerald Robotnik, where weapons of mass destruction were secretly being developed for the military, the most powerful being the Eclipse Cannon, a weapon that can wipe out an entire planet if powered up with all 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Sounds pretty
Listening
badass.
In the conversation is Rouge the Bat, a girl who loves jewels that offers to help Eggman find the remaining Chaos Emeralds. Rouge is actually a government agent sent by GUN, this universe's equivalent of the United States military. Sent to recover information concerning the origins of the ultimate life form.
I don't know much about her. I've seen her and stuff before,
it's
but
never really clear on what exactly she's looking for.
Was this her debut as well?
Though Eggman and Shadow recruit her anyway without much hesitation. Meanwhile, back in Station Square, I was never sure. I hear it's Central City, but we're not at that game yet, so in the meantime, I'm just gonna call it San Francisco Zone. Anyway, Sonic is mistakenly arrested by GUN for robbing a bank and destroying military buildings, but in actuality, it was Shadow, no shit. I'm still baffled as to how the military mistook these two. There's even a point in the story where the media has a clear-cut view of Shadow, but they still think it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean,
never mind ignoring the fact that Sonic is blue and that he saved Station Square from a giant liquid dildo.
Yeah?
Speaking of which, where was GUN when Perfect Chaos was unleashed? Were they on sabbatical leave? Back in the story, Sonic escapes custody and encounters Shadow after running through San Francisco Zone, where he demonstrates the power of Chaos Control, an ability that allows Shadow to teleport great distances with the help of a Chaos Emerald. Sonic is once again arrested and sent to Prison Island, which Eggman, Shadow, and Rouge plan to raid and steal the Chaos Emeralds locked away in their protected safe, ending with them blowing the whole place up after doing so. Suddenly Amy! Yep, Amy appears out of fucking nowhere, mistaking Shadow for Sonic,
mistakes him for Sonic too.
Awkwardness, although it does look like Shadow's enjoying the moment at least. Suddenly Tails! After hearing a news report, Tails makes it his mission to bust Sonic out of Prison Island. After saving Amy from the clutches of Dr. Eggman, the two help Sonic break out of his jail cell, where once again Sonic encounters Shadow while escaping the island. The two have a hissy fit, but Eggman warns Shadow that the island is close to blowing up, causing Sonic and Shadow to withdraw for the time being. Rouge manages to grab the Chaos Emeralds inside the safe, but finds herself locked in. After having a flashback of his dear friend Maria, Shadow dashes towards Rouge, saving her and the Chaos Emeralds with Chaos Control, with just seconds to spare before the island blows up. Shadow's motivation is pure revenge. He was really close to Maria, about on the level of siblings. After an incident 50 years ago aboard the Ark, Maria, with her dying breath, wishes for Shadow to escape to Earth and, well, that's where the flashbacks end. Shadow, I'm guessing as a result of being sealed up for 50 years, interprets this as seek revenge against humanity.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how she meant it.
Flashbacks instigate that Maria wants Shadow to avenge her, so where did this need for human extinction come from? His memory is clearly fuzzy about a few things, so why blame the entire planet for Maria's death and not just the very few people who put the bullet in Maria's back? Shadow, your thinking patterns confuse me. With 6 Chaos Emeralds at hand, Dr. Eggman demonstrates the power of the
Too
Eclipse
much of an
Cannon by
edgelord.
firing a warning shot at the moon,
Oh.
destroying half of it in the process.
Oh no. Oh no! Don't do that. Yeah, you'll create Ruby. Okay, actually do that.
To locate Dr. Eggman, Sonic and Tails... Oh, right, I completely forgot about Knuckles.
Yeah, we haven't
Very
mentioned
early
him
in the
yet.
game, Knuckles and Rouge have a verbal scuffle in a random desert. Rouge loves collecting jewels and wants to add the Master Emerald to her collection. Eggman attempts to steal it, with Knuckles shattering it to prevent her from doing so. I'm just going to assume Angel Island fell safely into the ocean with no casualties. Knuckles, once again, makes it his goal to collect the pieces of the Master Emerald, effectively shoehorning him into the story with little to no effort possible. It's by complete fucking coincidence that he runs into Tails and Amy from the sewer line, and he decides to stick around when he learns that Rouge the Bat is working with Eggman. Dr. Eggman contacts the president of San Francisco.
That guy looks
and threatens
weird.
to fire the cannon directly at Earth in 24 hours if the citizens do not surrender to the Eggman Empire. Sonic and Tails trace the call and discover that he's transmitting from the space colony Ark. With the help of Knuckles, Sonic and Tails discover Eggman's hidden base located inside this pyramid, where a conveniently placed space shuttle awaits, allowing the trio to enter the space colony. Where the hell did this space shuttle come from? It's never explained why it's here. It can't belong to Eggman. He has a teleportation device that easily allows him to access the Ark from his control room inside the pyramid. Having this lying around would not only be redundant, but it'd be an extreme security risk and... Alright, you made your point. Knuckles crash lands the shuttle on the Ark, but he decides he doesn't want to be a part of the plot anymore, leaving Sonic, Tails, and Amy to stop Eggman. Tails develops a fake Chaos
But Amy
Emerald
isn't
that causes the
playable,
Eclipse
right?
Cannon to explode when placed with the other 6 Chaos Emeralds. But before Sonic can insert the fake emerald, Dr. Eggman kidnaps Amy. Yeah, instantly regretting bringing her along with you, don't you, Sonic?
Yeah,
Sonic and Tails reach Amy and Eggman, where the Doctor demands that Sonic hand over the emerald in exchange for Amy. Of course, Eggman knows that the emerald is fake and traps Sonic inside a capsule. Eggman sends the capsule into space, where it detonates, apparently killing Sonic. But, as Knuckles finds out, Sonic manages to survive by utilizing Chaos Control with the fake emerald. Oh boy, where do I begin? I know at the end of the day, it's a story with a blue hedgehog, a fox with 2 tails, and a supposed echidna who wears too much junk. But this is something that's always bothered me since my very first playthrough. How in the world did Sonic do this? Can you honestly tell me that he learned to use Chaos Control from Shadow just by watching him do it? I'm sorry, but that seems very unlikely to me. I can buy using a fake emerald that's not as powerful as a real Chaos Emerald, but to have Sonic do something he's never even attempted to perform before and then actually succeeds in doing so just screams ass pull. And that makes
well, he was gonna die otherwise, but
the space shuttle, which has no reason
that's
to be
motivation.
there, and this little stunt. Well, to wrap things up, Sonic races to the Eclipse Cannon where he encounters Shadow one last time. While that's going on, Tails and Eggman duke it out in their mechs, with Tails emerging the victor, but fails to see Dr. Eggman escape with the final Chaos Emerald while grieving over the supposed death of his best friend. Sonic manages to thwart Shadow and prevents the cannon from firing, all while letting Tails and Amy know that he's okay. Look at that shit-eating grin. Oh, and Knuckles recovers the last of the Master Emerald in space while making amends with Rouge, so huzzah for them. Dr. Eggman places the final Chaos Emerald inside the control panel, but upon doing so, a video of his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, appears. 50 years ago, the military raided the space colony Ark in an attempt to stop Gerald's research. I'm guessing developing a cannon with the potential to annihilate an entire planet would do that.
Yeah,
During the
that
raid,
makes
Maria,
sense.
who was also
Yeah.
Gerald's granddaughter, was killed, driving Gerald to insanity. Gerald programmed the Ark to crash into the Earth when all 7 Chaos Emeralds are placed inside to take revenge on all the people that lived on Earth. Okay, 1. Why did Gunn record this death threat, and how was it uploaded in the Ark? 2. If Gunn knew the Ark could be used as a means to destroy the planet, why haven't they destroyed this son of a bitch? It's been 50 years.
It's a good point.
The game tells us that Gerald was a scientist who dedicated his life and research for the benefit of mankind. If that's the case, then why would he program the Ark to crash land into the planet when all 7 Chaos Emeralds are placed inside the cannon in the first place? Did he program this function before or after Maria's death? 4. If the military funded all of Gerald's research, including the weapons, why suddenly decide to pull the plug and kill everyone on board the Ark? Who was the person responsible for ordering such an attack? The game never explains it. 5. It's implied that Gerald reprogrammed Shadow's mind to carry out the mission to destroy Earth after breaking down from Maria's death. And while that would explain why Shadow jumped into the whole revenge conclusion, when did Gerald get the chance to do that? From what I got with the story, I always thought that Gerald was immediately taken away from the Ark during the night of the raid, and immediately placed in a jail cell where he could do no more research and development. And if that's true, then that would mean that he did program the Ark to crash into the Earth before Maria's death, and oh my heavens!
The more I try to understand the story, the more it falls apart. I mean, am I missing something here? I used to think this story was good, but the older I get, the more I start to notice all the little plot holes, and it bothers the hell out of me.
So the amount of energy coming from the Chaos Emeralds is causing the Ark to rocket towards the planet at an incredible velocity. Rouge gets the idea to use the Master Emerald to stop the Chaos Emeralds, stopping the Ark from crashing in the process. For the first time ever, Sonic and the crew team up with Dr. Eggman to get to the cannon's core and stop the Ark from falling. As everybody works together to save the world, Amy notices Shadow, who refuses to help because the mission has been accomplished. But as soon as Amy pleads with Shadow to give humanity a second chance, Shadow suddenly remembers what he promised to Maria, to benefit all of mankind. Well, that was certainly easy. Sonic and Knuckles reach the core, and suddenly Giant Lizard!
Oh.
Actually, this is the Bio Lizard, the prototype of the ultimate life form. Yes, before Shadow the Hedgehog, there was this thing.
Okay.
One from giant-ass lizard
Seems
to small
like a
hedgehog is something I'll never understand.
natural transition?
Don't worry, it's not like this creature comes completely out of nowhere. In fact, when Rouge is gathering info on Project Shadow, you can see a picture of it right there.
Okay.
Foreshadowing.
Nice,
After Shadow whips the lizard's gargantuan ass, he uses Chaos Control to merge with the colony to keep it on its collision course. Sonic and Shadow team up and use the Chaos Emeralds to transform into the Super States, where they stop the Bio Lizard one last time in outer space. The Bio Lizard is dead, but the Ark is still rapidly approaching Earth. With their forces combined, Super Sonic and Super Shadow use a giant whopping Chaos Control to stabilize the Ark, saving the Earth from complete annihilation. Immediately after, though, Shadow falls to his death with his promise to Maria fulfilled. Sonic, he's completely fine. I guess he had more rings than Shadow did. How else would he not suffer the same fate as Shadow? They both used the massive Chaos Control. They were both in the same place at the same time when it happened. So why is it just Shadow that's falling towards Earth? Damn main character immunity. You and your tricks. Sonic returns safely to the Ark, where everyone...
But Shadow's fine. I mean,
he mourn the loss of Shadow the Hedgehog.
He comes back.
Farewell to Shadow as everyone leaves the colony, ending with a lovely piano piece that I can't get enough of.
Maybe that's
retconned.
Sonic
Adventure 2, folks. Oh, man.
Probably.
What can I say? Well, to be honest,
probably
confusion aside, I do think the story as a whole is more entertaining than Adventure 1's story. While Adventure 1 suffered from trying to combine 6 stories into one large narrative, Adventure 2 keeps things relatively streamlined for the sake of getting more out of the story. But I think the biggest problem here is the lack of detail. If Dr. Eggman was inspired to be a great scientist by his grandfather, then what does the whole capturing animals and placing them inside badniks fit into the whole agenda? What does Eggman think of his grandfather? Secondly, the manual states that Eggman and Maria are cousins, but Eggman never mentions or even thinks about her. But is it because he didn't know Gerald had a granddaughter, or did he just not care? These are things I think would have helped make the story a bit more fleshed out.
Yeah, I mean...
Thirdly, Rouge is a government spy sent by Gunn to retrieve information on Project Shadow. As soon as she's done that, she attempts to take all the Chaos Emeralds inside the Ark and book it, but is stopped by Shadow. Shadow then heads off to stop Sonic from reaching the Eclipse Cannon, leaving Rouge alone with the Chaos Emeralds. What's stopping Rouge from taking the Emeralds anyway? She works for Gunn. Isn't Gunn also trying to stop Eggman from using the Emeralds to fire the Eclipse Cannon at Earth?
Perhaps I'm looking too deep into this. It's a Sonic Hedgehog game, I know. It's just that if Sonic Team wanted to focus more on story for these games, then they should have paid a little more attention to detail. The game's marketed for kids, but a good story should be something that caters to people of all ages.
Yeah, definitely.
Something entertaining for the young crowd while keeping the adults entertained.
It's got to make sense.
I honestly don't think Sonic Adventure 2 does that very well. Better than Adventure 1, without a doubt, but still below the level of a Saturday morning cartoon.
Well, that's enough with the story. This is a video game after all, so
Yeah,
let's take a look
yeah,
at the
let's-
gameplay. Sonic Adventure 2's
See if
overall
we can do
structure
that
is
right.
definitely more simplified than Adventure 1. Instead of picking between 6 different characters packing their own gameplay styles and storylines, Sonic Adventure 2 has you take control of 3 separate characters at different times as you move along their respective story. For example, in the hero story, once you complete a stage with Sonic, the story will shift to someone else, like Knuckles or Tails. The same applies to the characters in the Dark Side story. Secondly, no hub worlds. After completing a stage, you simply move on to the next. That's the way I like it, and I'm glad Sonic Adventure 2 doesn't disappoint in that regard. Character upgrades also return, but since there aren't any hub worlds, characters will eventually discover them as they move along the game. So Sonic Adventure 1 had 6 different gameplay styles. Sonic Adventure 2 only has 3. We're off to a good start so far, so let's see what we got here. Both stories share the same 3 types of gameplay: high-speed action stages, mech shooting, and treasure hunting. Sonic Adventure had a total of 11 stages, but since most of them were shared among multiple characters, the level design had to cater to every character that visited the stage, which admittedly led to a bit of monotony. In this game, however, each stage is catered to one specific character, and not one character only.
Cool.
Sonic and Shadow stages are all about high-speed platforming. Everything that was incorporated in Adventure 1 is back in full force here. Sonic and Shadow can spin dash, jump on enemies, or perform the homing attack for added precision. Controls are about as smooth as they were in Adventure 1, so I really have no issue there. New to the moveset is the Somersault, which allows Sonic or Shadow to squeeze past tight areas or destroy certain containers that block the path. Also introduced in this game is rail grinding.
Oh,
Sonic and Shadow
looks
can
cool.
jump on certain rails and proceed to grind them to gain speed, score bonus points, or take a shortcut if possible. You can hold down the crouch button to go faster, but you also have to keep yourself balanced with the analog stick to keep the speed going. Eventually, Sonic and Shadow can nab the Lightspeed Dash, making a return from Adventure 1, and thankfully it's much more convenient this time around. Remember how I said how slow it was back in the last game? Well, here, you just press the action button near a trail of rings and booyah, instant light dash.
Oh.
Much better. It could be a bit finicky at times though, because the light dash is mapped to the same button as the spin dash and the somersault. So there'll be plenty of times where you want to do the Lightspeed Dash, only to find yourself doing the somersault instead. That can get pretty frustrating. Sonic can also later nab the bounce bracelet, which allows Sonic to continuously bounce on the floor to gain higher ground. Think of it like the bubble shield in Sonic 3 without the added protection. Speaking of the bubble shield, I should have noted during the last review that the only elemental shield that makes a return is the electric shield, allowing characters to draw in range from a distance. It no longer allows Sonic to do a double jump though, which is a bit disappointing, but it's nothing I'll lose sleep over. The Ancient Light upgrade also returns, but like last time, I barely use the damn thing. It never seems to work properly with me anyway. Just look at Shadow orbiting this gun robot like a ridiculously insane moon.
Okay.
Finally, Sonic and Shadow can upgrade their somersaults with the Flame Room, but it's purely just for breaking steel crates and adds nothing else. Oh, right, Sonic can also get the magic hands, allowing him to transform enemies into action figures. It's probably the most useless power-up in Sonic history, as you don't need it to complete anything, and it's too much of a pain to set up properly anyway. Oh, goddammit!
What?
Sonic and Shadow stages, if I can compare them to Sonic stages from Adventure 1, are definitely more energetic and in your face. Sonic's first stage, City Escape, not only starts with Sonic streetboarding down the steep hills of San Francisco, but ends with a huge-ass gun truck chasing Sonic down while obliterating every goddamn car in its path.
That's pretty
The next
cool.
level after that, Metal Harbor, requires Sonic to race against time to grab the rocket and escape from Prison Island. Green Forest has you running against the clock. Pyramid Cave has... Crazy Gadget has anti-gravity, and Final Rush is almost nothing but high-speed rail grinding. Shadow has his moments in the sun too, but he gets nowhere near the amount of tension as Sonic does. In fact, Shadow only has 4 stages in the entire game: Radical Highway, White Forest, Skyrail, and Final Chase. While enjoyable, I find that Sonic stages were overall better designed and more fun to travel through. Compared to Adventure 1, however, well, that's where things get tricky. Since Sonic now has stages that are specifically catered toward him, there are a lot of times where Sonic can reach some pretty high speeds and is quite the spectacle. Unfortunately, this comes at a cost of flat level design. Now maybe it's because I haven't played this game enough, or maybe I'm missing a hidden grind rail that's obscured by the camera, but the Sonic stages in this game get a bit too linear for my taste at times. There were times when I was playing the game where I couldn't help but think I was just traveling down the same hallway that changes its appearance every once in a while, which was exceptionally noticeable in stages like Pyramid Cave. In Adventure 1, one of the joys of the level design for me was going out of my way to explore the stage and being rewarded with goodies like a shield power-up or an extra life. Here, you pretty much have to take the road they give you, leaving little to no room for exploration. Yeah, some levels like Final Rush do have alternate means of getting somewhere, but my point is, every Sonic stage should be like this, but it's not. Thinking deeper into it, this might have something to do with my
Super
love of
Metroid.
Metroid
Great
and
game.
such. And if you watch
One of my
reviews
favorites.
of those games, then you know that I love non-linear level design or being
Wasn't
able to
into
break the
Metroid
rules,
Prime.
which is why I gave games like Other M
Never
such
tried
a
that
hard
one.
time. Just to be clear, guys, the Sonic and Shadow stages can still be loads of fun and are the best part of the game. I just wish there was more to them and that it wasn't so restricted, you know? Knuckles and Rouge's gameplay is emerald hunting. Yep, just like in Adventure 1, these two need to explore their respective stages and discover 3 pieces of the Master Emerald, either by running into it, busting up a certain enemy, or digging for it. However, they made some highly questionable changes to the formula that let's just say I'm not a fan of. First off, the radar system has been significantly butchered. You can only detect 1 emerald piece at a time.
Oh.
See this? It's a Master Emerald piece, but it's not the one the game wants me to locate at the moment. They want me to locate the piece over here, and then come back to collect this one. During your first playthrough, there will be times where you could potentially be right next to an emerald piece, but if it's not the one the game wants you to find, you'll never know it's there until you collect the other pieces first. Being able to only detect 1 piece at a time is an incredibly stupid method of stretching
it doesn't
out
make a lot of
game
sense.
time. In Adventure 1, if you were close to any emerald piece, the radar would let you know. That's good. Look at this, I'm exploring this hallway, the radar is not going off at all. Oh, here's the emerald piece the game wanted me to find first. And oh, look at that. Now the radar is going off in the area I previously explored. That's so stupid. If that wasn't bad enough, the hint system was neutered as well. In Adventure 1, Tikal could help players out by leading them in the direction of the emerald piece. It was a very helpful tool for those who needed some assistance. Here, the hint monitors give you hints that require you to be familiar with level design in the first place, something you would only know if you spent a long amount of time looking for one particular emerald piece to begin with. Who thought this was a good idea? With these issues, some levels can be outright frustrating. Take Security Hall for example, where not only can you find only 1 Chaos Emerald at a time with this stupid gimped radar, you only have about 5 minutes to find all 3 of them.
Oh.
The timer for 15 minutes. Let's go, Rouge.
5 minutes should be plenty.
No, he said 15 minutes! 15 minutes! Wait, doesn't Rouge work for Gun? Why do I have to pass through all this security shit to get something that belongs to the organization that Rouge works for? Aren't they in on this whole thing? Lastly, some of these levels are huge, and combined with the issues I mentioned, do not be surprised if some levels take you forever to complete. I hate the space levels, Meteor Herd and Mad Space, especially Mad Space. It's got everything. Unnecessarily spacious level design, wonky gravity controls, and to top it all off, the hint system is reversed.
Oh.
You want me to have a
Oh,
good time
okay.
with that, guys? It pains me to say that having a good time in the hunting stages is completely luck-based. If the emerald pieces aren't close together to begin with, there's going to be bullshit up ahead. But if I can give credit where credit's due, I am glad that Knuckles and Rouge are just as acrobatic as I expect a character in this universe to be. They can run fast, kill enemies with ease, climb walls effectively,
Cool.
and glide like nothing else. But this is a case where good control can't make up for horrible game design. Well, all that's left is the shooting level starring Dr. Eggman and Tails.
Yeah,
Alright,
why is
in
Tails
terms
in a
of design,
mech?
Think of it like Gamma sections in Adventure 1, only a bit more fleshed out in terms of level design and without a time limit. Both characters have a life bar that you can refill by collecting first aid power-ups or by collecting rings.
Just
the name
weird
of
to
the
me.
game
I mean, I know
is
he's
to wreck
smart,
shit up
but-
and basic platforming. By holding down the action button, you can lock onto multiple targets, awarding bigger bonus points the more you can lock on at once. When you aren't blowing shit up, you're guiding your mech walker through many hallways, square platforms, and bottomless pits. You can later nab a hovering upgrade like Gamma to travel long distances and make more accurate jumps, and you can also later upgrade your arsenal to get a better range of firepower or increase your defensive capabilities. In all honesty, I don't find the mech shooting levels to be all that bad. For Dr. Eggman, what the hell is Tails doing in a mech?
Yeah.
Did he suddenly become paralyzed from the waist down and he's unable to use his legs anymore? No, the cutscenes show that he's perfectly capable of walking, so what's going on here?
Where's his mech during the
Unfortunately, this may have
cutscenes?
something to do with some behind-the-scenes aspects. With the research I've done, and by that I mean skimming Sonic Retro's page on Sonic Adventure 2's development cycle, Tails wasn't originally going to be playable in Sonic Adventure 2 in the first place. He'd most likely be around for story purposes, you know, fake Emerald and everything, but in terms of game time, no. When fans began to outcry over this fact, Tails was practically shoehorned into the game, but instead of incorporating his gameplay style from Adventure 1, which was perfectly fine by the way, they made him a Dr. Eggman clone. And this is my biggest issue with Tails' stage. There is literally no reason for him to be in this mech. One stage requires Tails to locate the entrance to Dr. Eggman's pyramid base, but wouldn't he have a much easier time being able to fly and locate it? Then there's Mission Street, which Tails runs through because he needs to escape military pursuit.
Oh.
Hello? Your mech is also a fucking plane! Just transfer it back and hightail it out of there. Why are we blowing shit up here? We have no business being here. Now, with Dr. Eggman, I can totally get down with mech shooting because it makes a higher degree of sense with him. With that said, however, I'm a bit bummed out that this is the only contraption we can use. I mean, this is Dr. Eggman we're talking about here.
Yeah, he
He's
should have
always
some
using
options.
his brain to invent machines of all sorts to destroy Sonic and take over the world. Why can't we fly in the Egomatic or use Batniks as weapons? I mean, if we have to be relegated to the mech, then that's fine for Dr. Eggman, but this was a seriously missed opportunity here. In terms of controls, the walkers do a fine job running in a straight line, but turning and jumping feels remarkably clunky. This is very noticeable in the desert stages, more accurately, Tails' hidden base stage. I had a very miserable time here because of wonky jump controls and collision detection, not to mention the abundance of cheap enemy placement. In fact, cheap enemy placement is another serious issue I have with these stages as a whole. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of times an enemy suddenly dropped right in front of me with no time to react to it. Oh, what horse shit. There are also times where you wish you had a better view, but you can't turn the camera at all while you're moving. You can only turn it when you're stationary. But even then, the camera will most likely snap back in an attempt to keep you on the main path. I can understand wanting to expand upon Gamma's shooting stages, but Gamma definitely had the better control. Here, I can feel the struggle of jumping from platform to platform, and it's not at all pleasant. Oddly enough, however, I really enjoy Eggman's final stage, Cosmic Wall. While the level itself kind of overstays its welcome by about 2 to 4 minutes, the low gravity here makes your jumps very floaty, and as a result, it leads to better control. Not only that, but when you use the hovering upgrade, you actually gain altitude for a few seconds, leading to some fun platforming. And because of its spacious design, I rarely have any camera issues. I actually have a lot of fun in this level, and I truly think this is how the walker should have controlled in the first place. The shooting levels as a whole, however, are just plain insufficient. I think Eggman's are better designed than Tails, but both characters are bombarded with clunky controls, hideous camera issues, and very problematic level design.
Wow.
So let's summarize. I love Sonic and Shadow stages, I don't fully enjoy the Walker stages, and I don't like the treasure hunting stages. This means I only truly enjoy 1/3 of this game. Out of the 31 stages you play throughout both stories, not counting the bonus stage you unlock for collecting all 180 emblems or the mega level at the end of the last story, only 10 of them fully involve Sonic and Shadow. 6 stages for Sonic and 4 stages for Shadow. The rest are all shooting and treasure hunting levels. Luckily, if I ever want to revisit Sonic or Shadow levels, I can simply head to the stage select and replay them as many times as I want without having to be forced to play the levels I didn't enjoy while I was in story mode. But besides stages to conquer, each story is also peppered with boss fights. When you're not trashing one of Gun's military robots or a giant ghost or a giant stone golem, you're facing off against your character's counterpart. I stated last time that character battles in Adventure 1 were a complete joke, and they're not much better here. Shadow and Sonic just dance around waiting for an opening, Knuckle and Rouge spend most of their time fighting the camera instead of each other, and Tails and Eggman just try to outlast a war of attrition. They're nothing dazzling. Better than Adventure 1's for sure, but not by much.
Nice try, Rocky.
The final bosses, on the other hand, drove me insane when I first played it. The amount of times I died to the Biolizardor in this section goes well beyond comprehension, and the true final boss was just absolute bullshit to me. I swear the homing attack is utterly broken during this fight. It never seems to work for me. There's way too many times where I dash toward the weak spot, but nothing happens. I could just repeatedly ram into him with my head, but even that doesn't work forever because the boss starts defending itself with annoying projectiles and 2 large lasers that love getting in your way. I hate this boss. But Sonic Adventure 2 just doesn't have a story to offer. There are actually quite a number of things you can do when you're finished with the main quest. Returning from Adventure 1 are emblems, which you are awarded with each time you complete a stage. When you revisit stages in the level select, you can earn more emblems by completing the stage with a different objective, like collecting 100 rings or beating the stage under a specific amount of time. One of the most annoying missions I ever experienced were the missions in the driving segments where you can't run into other cars or walls. Never before has driving made me so intense. The other car might as well be death itself. If you touch it, your ass is toast. Learning how to
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Because if you don't keep
you
things
don't
moving,
want to go
you're gonna run
around
out of
running
time.
into other cars when you're driving.
Yes, I finally passed that mission.
Wow.
For the first time in Sonic history, you're ranked at the end of each stage or mission you complete. The better you perform, the better your rank, with the highest being the A rank. If you want to collect all the emblems in this game, you're going to need to A rank every single stage and every single mission within the stage. How do you do this? Well, it's simple. Don't die, kill everything in sight, score as many bonus points as you can, collect every ring imaginable, and do it really, really fast. Actually, that doesn't sound simple at all. That sounds like a major pain in the ass. And it is. One of the most defining examples I can think of is Metal Harbor, Sonic's second stage. Completing the stage is no sweat, that's not the issue, but getting enough points necessary to achieve the highest rank is so damn picky, and it all has to do with this fucking rocket. Near the end of the stage, Sonic needs to race against the clock to grab this rocket before it launches. See? No problem, right? Turns out there's another point of the rocket that you can grab that's higher up and takes longer to get to. But son of a bitch, is it so hard to get to with the amount of time you're giving? You have to be so precise with your movements, so precise with your jumps, and if you fuck up, you have to do the entire stage over again if you want a chance at the A rank. Granted, Metal Harbor isn't a long stage to begin with, but to have the key to achieving the A rank located at the end of the stage is just flat out dickish. Come on, Sonic, you can do. Damn it! Oh, these walkways are so damn narrow. There we go, baby. Oh man, fuck! No, I was so close.
3, 2, 1. Fire.
Yes! Yes, I did it! And it only took me 39 attempts. That's 39 full playthroughs of Metal Harbor. Christ, that was frustrating. If I have to keep doing shit like that just to get more A ranks or to get more emblems, then no thanks. I'll pass.
Like Adventure 1, emblem hunting is usually something I don't waste any time on. It does add a lot of replay value for those who enjoy this sort of thing, but in my case, I couldn't care. Although I do plan on getting all the achievements in this game eventually, which would also require me wasting time in the Child Garden, which also makes a return. To access the Child World, you need to find a Child Key located in a stage and complete the level with it. Then you could... Wait a damn moment! Tails is out of his mech! Look,
Yeah?
he can run reasonably fast, and he can fly Huh.
Oh.
Look at that. He can control Eggman out of his mech too. That's rather surreal, honestly. But anyway, back on topic. The Child Garden works similarly to how it worked in Adventure 1, but there's a lot more to do this time around. You can still feed it fruit like last time, have it absorb properties of animals you can find in stages, but if you want to raise its stats, you need to collect Chaos Drives, which enemies drop when defeated. Again, the Child Garden is not my cup of tea, so I apologize if I don't sound so enthusiastic about it. I mean, it can be very intricate stuff. Raising and breeding Chow is a very time-consuming and complicated process, and unless you're into this stuff to begin with, I don't think you should even bother unless you really want those remaining emblems. Well, if there's another thing I can praise Sonic Adventure 2 for, is its graphics and presentation. They're a hell of a lot better than Adventure 1. The lip syncing still doesn't match the English dialogue though, but mouth and body movements are overall miles better than what Adventure 1 offered. Yeah, it hasn't aged well altogether, but for a Dreamcast title,
Most
I
stuff
think
at the
it's a little
time
bit of
hasn't.
slack. The voice acting has also been improved considerably as well. Everyone voices their characters pretty well, with one or two exceptions, mind you. Tails' voice actor sounds like he's always reading directly from the script, and Eggman can sound quite odd at times.
Let's get to work.
The sound mixing, on the other hand, is pretty damn bad. Like I said before, the English dialogue doesn't match with the Japanese lip movements. As such, there are plenty of times where characters flat out interrupt each other during cutscenes. It can also be rather hard to hear them at times because the music can be annoyingly loud and drown the characters out. This issue was also apparent in Adventure 1, but since this is a sequel, I expected this sort of thing to be dealt with, but it's still here. Well, if the music had to drown the dialogue out, I'm at least glad it's good music. Sonic Adventure 2's soundtrack is pretty good stuff, but I honestly think it doesn't even compare to Adventure 1. For this game, there is a much greater focus on the electric guitar. Sonic and Shadow stages have it, Tails of stages have it along with the sitar. Eggman's is really rocking it. The electric guitar is everywhere in this game. The only two characters who don't have hard rocking metal in their songs is Knuckles and Rouge. Knuckles is filled to the brim with extremely corny rap songs that are admittedly a guilty pleasure of a sort.
Okay.
Rouge is filled with smooth jazz pieces that are easy on the ears.
Cool.
The biggest issue I have with the soundtrack is that it starts to get tedious after a while. I think Sonic Adventure 1 did an amazing job combining many different styles of music to create a simply remarkable soundtrack. Here, it's mostly rock, and while I like rock, I don't need it playing 80% of the time in the background. However, when the song's composition is good, it's really good. I love City Escape's theme as well as Metal Harbors in addition to Green Forest, and while I may not enjoy Tails' levels so much, his first level, Prison Island, contains an incredibly kick-ass tune. I also love the music that plays in Death Chamber with Knuckles, and Cosmic Wall for Dr. Eggman is just a joy to my ears. Then of course, we have the main theme of the game, Live and Learn, performed by Crush 40. If there's one thing I enjoy about the final boss, it's that this theme plays in the background during the fight. It's the theme song that's become integrated with modern Sonic, and for good reason. It's a bitching piece of music and makes for a spectacular final boss theme. I highly recommend this piece to anyone who...
Oh. What is that? Oh.
Yeah, the Dreamcast had that problem of screaming like a fucking banshee every time it began to read discs. Luckily, I think this was a good time to jump into the port that was released for the Nintendo GameCube.
Okay, got another one of those. Oh.
Piece of junk, don't crap out on me now.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Guess it was only a matter of time, to be honest. It is almost a decade old. Luckily, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was just recently re-released for Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and PC, so let's give that a look instead.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, like Sonic Adventure DX, is a re-release that contains extra content not found in the original Dreamcast release. And by that, I mean a much better multiplayer experience. Yeah, the Dreamcast version had some multiplayer elements as well, but it doesn't even compare to this. Players can choose to race to the finish with Sonic and Shadow, shoot each other up with Tails and Eggman, or fight for Emerald Pieces with Knuckles and Rouge. When a player collects a certain amount of coins, they can unleash special powers like added speed or attacks that can disrupt your opponent. In the original Sonic Adventure 2, you can unlock additional characters by collecting more emblems like Amy, Metal Sonic, Tikal, or Chaos.
That's cool.
Every character is unlocked to begin with, which I appreciate. Look at this, Amy is actually pretty badass here. Her homing attack is a bit annoying though because she doesn't stop saying every time she performs it, but I'm glad to see that she's improving since Sonic Adventure 1. I think I can safely say that Sonic
He
Adventure
pretty much just plays like Sonic, I imagine, now.
Is the best multiplayer a Sonic game has ever had. There's so many stages to choose from, and competing with a friend, or in my case a brother, can lead to many good times. Now, there's even kart racing, and while it's nowhere near as deep as, say, Mario Kart or Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, it's a nice distraction to waste some time on. Other than that, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is pretty much like the original on the Dreamcast. Everything still runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, including the cutscenes, but some graphics do look a bit different. Again, I think the Dreamcast version sported better lighting in some instances, which is noticeable in some cutscenes and stages. I actually think this works in the GameCube's benefit with stages like the Lost Colony, which is so damn hard to see where you're going in the Dreamcast version. The 2012 re-release also has widescreen support, which looks great, but it's also a bit inconsistent. Some cutscenes are rendered in widescreen while some are reverted to their original 4:3 ratio. I can understand this for the pre-rendered full-motion videos, but for the real-time cutscenes, I don't get it. Unfortunately, the sound mixing issues I had with the original release is still present and are in fact accentuated in this port. If you thought you had a hard time hearing the dialogue before, well then you ain't gonna hear them here. The music is way too fucking loud. Not only that, but some sound effects were also cranked up in decibels, which can not only lead to pure ear rape, but it's just extremely distracting as well. But what's really weird is that these sound issues didn't exist in the original Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, so what the hell happened here? I will say that using an Xbox 360 controller does feel very natural for this game, but I think I like the GameCube controller just a little more. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is the definitive version of the game, but if I were you, I stick with the GameCube version. The widescreen support of the 2012 re-release is great and all, but the sound mixing is terrible. In the end, well, what else more I can say? Sonic Adventure 2 is a game that's become noticeably worse as the years pass. With each playthrough I complete, there's just something inside me that makes me stray further and further away from the game. The game's not terrible overall, I've played a hell of a lot worse, but it hasn't aged well at all. When I played Sonic Adventure 1, it left a great impression on me. I had a blast with Sonic stages, I had fun with Tails' stages, and I had a good time with Knuckles stages, with the exception of Skydeck. Yeah, it wasn't the whole adventure, but it was still a major chunk of it. Sonic Adventure 2, while a step up in presentation, feels like a step backwards in both gameplay and level design to me. I only enjoyed 10 of the 31 stages Adventure 2 offers. I couldn't care for anything else because of stupid design elements or just plain indifference. That's a problem to me. I hear it all the time that if it wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that made people love the Blue Hedgehog, it was Sonic Adventure 2. And while I definitely enjoy the merits of Adventure 2's Sonic stages, the rest of the game just falls flat on its face to me. I can't say I enjoy Adventure 2 as a whole. I'd be lying if I said I did. The same applies to Adventure 1. I can say I enjoy everything about Sonic 2.
Well,
I can say I can enjoy everything about Sonic 3. Hell, I can even say the same for Sonic Colors or Generations. But the Adventure series? Not a goddamn chance.
You know, getting older can suck at times. Sometimes the games you swear you love to play as a child can be an outright chore to play when you're an adult. And I'm sorry to say that Sonic Adventure 2 falls under that category for me. To all those that really get a kick out of this game and still do to this day, more power to you. You certainly have a higher degree of tolerance than I do. But maybe things will pick up for me at this point. But we'll find out next time we meet in the Sonic the Hedgehog Marathon with Sonic Heroes for the Nintendo GameCube. Until then, see you guys next week. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, there we go.
Yo.
Oh. That's a little bit weird. Yeah, well, there we go. Interesting. I mean, yeah, it looked, didn't look that bad to me again. I mean, they got rid of the fishing and some of the other, like, really weird. Maybe probably narrowing it down to just 3 types of gameplay, probably a good idea just to make those better. But if they didn't actually make them better, I mean, yeah, the radar thing in the Knuckles, that seems like a big problem there. But and definitely just that exists to extend the gameplay, I would say. As he said, I mean, really, there's no other reason to do that. To just make it take longer. But I don't know. I mean, it still looks kind of fun gliding around like that. And yeah, why is Tails in a mech? That's weird. I don't know. But yeah, it looks kind of fun. I mean, the Sonic stages, they seem to have a lot more like. I mean, they do seem a bit more linear, from as he was saying, but it looks like we have some fun set pieces and stuff, and it looks interesting. And the story doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, as he just I don't know. I'm not really sure you should. Not really sure you should go into Sonic expecting like some great story, but still, it should at least make sense. It should still at least come together in a way that does. But I don't know. I'm just taking his word for it. From how he explained it, it doesn't seem to quite measure up. But yeah, I don't know. And with that ending, I'm guessing that they intended to kill off Shadow, but then they just brought him back later. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't know. Not really sure what else to say. It was a good review. I mean, he seemed more negative here, which I guess, I mean, he probably does seem like he likes it less than the first one. But he explained his criticisms well, I feel, and it was entertaining. I mean, I'm as someone who hasn't played the game, I'm not really sure entirely what to say exactly, but it was an interesting explanation and look at the game, even to someone who hasn't really experienced it. So yeah. Anyway, hope you liked the reaction. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.